Economy is opening up, businesses are getting back to normalcy, airports have become busy places again. But guess what? Domestic capital has already boarded international flights and it's going on a global tour. Yes, you guessed it right. Today we are going to talk to you about international funds. In the last 1 year, they have gathered tremendous amount of buying interest as the AUM has swelled 150% or so. Welcome, you're watching Weekends with Ventura with me, Vidhata. To discuss this topic further, we have with us on our show User Gabajiwala, Director at Ventura Securities. So let's welcome him and ask him a few questions. Hello, sir.
Hi, Vidhata.
Thanks. I'm fine, sir. Thanks for being with us on this show. So, sir, what's the driving force behind international funds getting in the limelight?
So, I think since even the American markets have been moving up, technology stocks and all are also moving up over here. Mm-hmm. And we have been, the international funds have been there for quite some time. So it's not a new concept. Mm-hmm. But I think it is now picking up flavor because we are hearing the Nasdaq and the Dow touching new highs. So that's one of the reasons where the international funds flavor is now picking up momentum.
Okay, so can you shed some more light on international funds, as in are there any different types of international funds? How do they operate?
See, one is that if you want, I mean, now with the liberalized environment, as an Indian, as a resident Indian, I can even invest in stocks outside India. Okay?
Correct.
So you are allowed to remit up to $250,000 per annum.
Correct.
And it can even be for investment.
Yeah.
However, having said that, it's quite a cumbersome process because it's going to be quite difficult that you'll have to find a broker, you'll have to find a methodology to invest. So what has the mutual funds done is that you have a mutual fund.
Correct.
So you can actually buy a basket of stocks of companies which are listed in the US market. So if you see, we have something like around I think now 37 to 40 odd fund houses.
Yeah.
Some of them are investing directly in the stocks of US based companies. I mean, that's the predominant investment.
Right.
But you will have some of them will be investing also in Japan, Europe. So predominantly it is US. So that is one way. The other is that since you have quite a lot of these international fund houses who have a presence in India,
correct,
they have their own funds in US.
Yeah.
So the fund out here becomes a feeder fund. A classic example is Franklin US Opportunities Fund. So Franklin US Opportunities Fund in India is not doing anything but investing in a fund of US of Franklin.
Yeah, correct.
So that is becoming so it's more like a fund of funds,
yeah,
concept. And the third one which we have is where I think you have two funds which are there from Motilal Oswal, where it is more of an ETF concept. So it's like more like an exchange traded fund. So one is mirroring the S&P 500 and the other one is mirroring the Nasdaq. So they are mirroring exactly as whatever is being held in Nasdaq, and one is the S&P 500. So these are the three broad categories which you can take into account.
Okay, absolutely. So suppose, sir, somebody wants to invest in international funds at this juncture. First, how much as a percentage of his portfolio he should invest, and what type of precautions would you like people to take?
So it's like this. I think now, once you have invested, in India, and you have done your sizable investment, so it is always better to diversify your portfolio.
Yeah.
So it's time that where somebody is already invested in mutual funds and Indian equity funds, is doing direct equity in stocks. And the logical extension is that now you need to start looking at the universe outside India.
Yeah.
So I think the best place to start off would be is the world's biggest market. I mean, so that's the US.
Correct.
So you have the world's largest companies are listed on the US stock exchanges. So it is worthwhile that you make an entry out there.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be around 10 to 15% of your portfolio. Some portion you can consider. But having said that, one needs to be very careful because the markets have really run up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the US markets are also at a peak. So one needs to tread a bit carefully.
Yeah.
So the best methodology is what we would recommend is gradual investments to be done in a calibrated manner. So you can invest over there. So I think that will be a good option for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So apart from performance factors and apart from that diversification point of view, is there anything else that investors should look at?
So there are two more other factors. One is that you also have a forex risk or a gain. I mean, whichever way you look at it. So technically your money is, even though it's all invested and for you everything is in India.
Yeah.
Your investments are in dollar denominated terms. So if the rupee will depreciate, rupee depreciation would mean that today USD INR exchange rate depreciation of the rupee would mean that if it is today 73 and if rupee moves to 75, then INR is depreciated and it will appreciate if it will go below 73. So if the rupee depreciates, which has traditionally been the case with India, then you would again get an advantage on account of that because even you get gains for foreign currency.
Yeah, but absolutely.
Anything which is a gain will always have a flip side. So if the the rupee becomes stronger, then you could even have a loss. The second thing to be borne in mind is that the taxation is a bit different. So the taxation which we have in India is only for stocks which are listed on the Indian stock exchange.
Okay.
So stocks which are listed on the stock exchange outside of India don't get the same taxation advantage as what we get over here. So what will happen out here for any short term, you will be treated as the period of holding will be 3 years. Which normally for us is 1 year.
1 year. For
stocks and equity mutual fund, which are
domestic investments, domestic equity investments, it is 1
year. And so your taxation is at your normal taxation rate. So it will be at your normal tax rate. It will not be at your short term will be at the normal tax rate and not at your concessional tax rate of 15%. And the moment you hold for more than 3 years, then you will be taxed at 20%, but you will get the benefit of indexation.
Indexation benefit.
So in that sense, it would mean that your any international equity will be taxed at like a debt fund.
Like a debt fund, I was coming to that point only. And sir, sorry, please go ahead.
So that is the main. So that would reduce the return vis-a-vis your Indian equity investment.
Correct. And I'm tempted to ask you this question because American markets have run up so much that quite a few stocks have become like economy in themselves. So if I'm investing at this juncture, do you think is it advisable, to go through the SIP route or do something like that?
See, SIP is like according to me, is an evergreen product. It's a question of that when you want to start, you can start small. And we need to understand one thing that like you said, today Apple is valued at around nearly the market cap of Apple is around $2 trillion.
2 trillion,
So if you see the market cap of Apple is more than the market cap of the Nifty 50 stocks.
Absolutely.
So our Nifty 50, I think is somewhere close to what, 1.2, 1.3.
1.2, 1.25
USD. So one stock is equivalent to our entire 50 stocks.
50 stocks.
that way you have got various other entities. So you have the Googles of the world and you have the Microsoft, right? And these are now all companies which have got worldwide presence. So it is not that we are using Google in India. You are using an Apple phone. You are using Microsoft. We are using Procter and Gamble products. So ultimately, everything is going and getting consolidated in the US company.
Correct.
So ultimately, when you are buying a US company-based stock, most of them have a global presence. And by having a global presence, you are actually buying, stocks for companies which are having a global presence. So it is not that. So for example, if let us say, in a similar manner, a person who is in US will buy into, let us say, Ultratech Cement. Then he is buying a local company out here.
Absolutely.
Because Ultratech Cement is operating in India. It is not operating globally.
Correct.
Whereas if you are going and buying into Google or Microsoft,
or even Netflix and
buying the India part of the business, but you are buying even the Europe part of the business and everywhere.
Absolutely.
So I think it makes tremendous amount of sense for a person
going through the SIP.
Have the US market as a part of their portfolio. And I mean, it's a global leader. The top companies are based out of that. So when you look at Nasdaq or when you look at the S&P 500, and another advantage you have is that there will be some type of businesses which are not even in India, which are not listed in the Indian space.
Correct.
So you are able to buy even Netflix.
Absolutely.
Right? And you are able to diversify into different companies. When you are buying multiple mutual funds in India, so mutual fund A, B and C, all three would definitely be holding a HDFC Bank or an ICICI Bank.
Correct.
But when you are buying a mutual fund of US today, you know that you are getting a completely different entity. And one more thing what you can do also is that if supposing somebody is not very comfortable, then there are some AMCs which have their mutual funds where 65% is invested in Indian equity, because that is the income tax rule which permits the Indian taxation, and 35% of the money can be invested outside India. So you will have, there are some fund houses which run schemes where they will be investing between 10 to 25-30% of their corpus into a scheme which is outside India. So you can even look at that. You get the benefit of investing outside India partially, benefit of investing in India, and you will get the Indian equity taxation.
So best of both the worlds.
Correct.
In a sense, you can say. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for stopping by and talking to us about international funds. Hope viewers, you had a lot of takeaways from this discussion. Basically, you need to consider 3 points while investing in international funds. They give you diversification, but their taxation is different. So please bear this in mind, and you always have to look at the currency fluctuations. So that's it, viewers. That's it for this weekend. Catch you next time. Until then, bye.
Investment in securities market is subject to market risk. Please read the offer documents carefully before investing. V Ventura Securities Limited, its analysts and associates, with regard to the video, hereby solemnly declare and disclose that we do not have any financial interest of any nature in the company. We do not individually or collectively hold 1% or more of the securities of the company. We do not have any other material conflict of interest in the company. We do not act as a market maker in the securities of the company. We do not have any directorship or other material relationships with the company. We do not have any personal interest in the securities of the company. We do not have any past significant relationships with the company, such as investment banking or other advisory assignments or intermediary relationships. We are not responsible for the risk associated with the investment, disinvestment decision made on the basis of this video.